At 2:17 a.m., my phone rang. Not a text, not a vibration. A full-on ring that cut through my apartment like a siren. I was half asleep on my couch, with Netflix paused. The kind of lonely, I'm not even pretending I'm okay night. The TV glow was the only light. My blanket smelled like detergent and, if I was being honest, grief. I reached for my phone without looking, annoyed, ready to snap at some spam caller. Then I saw the screen. Caller ID, Maya Hart. My name. My actual contact photo. My own number. For a second, my brain refused to process it. Like, you know when you stare at something so wrong, your mind tries to fix it? Like, nah, that's not real. But it was real. My fingers turned cold. My throat tightened, and I did the dumbest thing possible. I answered. Hello? My voice came out whispery and wrecked. For 2 seconds, there was only breathing. Fast, shaky. Then, I heard my voice. Not a voice like mine. Not similar. Mine. Same rasp. Same tiny hiccup I get when I'm scared. Same exact cadence. Maya, the voice said. I sat straight up so fast the blanket slid to the floor. Who is this? I snapped, trying to sound tough. Trying and failing. It's, she swallowed, like she was choking on the words. It's me. It's you. My heart started punching my ribs. That voice, my voice, was trembling like she'd been running, like she was hiding. And then she whispered something that made my stomach drop out of my body. Don't go to work tomorrow. I laughed, this ugly, panicky little laugh. Okay, funny. Who put you up to this? Silence. Then she said it, and it sounded like she was about to cry. Maya, please, I'm serious. Don't go. I stared at the dark window across my living room. My reflection stared back like a stranger. Messy hair, no makeup. A woman who hadn't slept through the night in 2 years. Why? I asked. Another breath. Another swallow. Because you're gonna... She stopped herself. Because it's gonna happen again. Again? I repeated, and my voice cracked. My hands were shaking so hard, my phone rattled against my ear. What's gonna happen again? She didn't answer right away. I heard a sound like fabric moving, like she'd shifted in a tight space. Then she said, barely audible, You're going to lose him again. My chest tightened, like someone cinched a belt around my lungs. Lose who? I asked, but I already knew. I already knew, because my brain had been living in the same nightmare for 2 years. My husband, Adam, the man who died in a hit-and-run on a rainy Friday night when a driver never stopped. The man who used to call me May when he was being sweet, and Maya Marie when he was mad. The man whose toothbrush was still in my bathroom because I never moved it. What the hell are you talking about? I whispered. The voice on the phone sounded like it was fighting to stay calm. You're gonna get a call around 10:03. They're going to say there's an emergency. They're gonna say you need to come down to the basement level. My skin prickled. How do you know that? I asked. She exhaled like she was exhausted, like she'd been carrying this sentence for years. Because I already did it. My head started to spin. This is insane, I muttered. This is a prank, or I'm dreaming. No, she said sharply, and the sudden force in my own voice made my eyes sting. You're awake, and you need to listen. There was a weird wet sound on the line, like her hand covering the receiver. Then she whispered, Someone's coming. My whole body went rigid. What do you mean someone's coming? I asked. But she didn't answer that either. She just rushed out the next words, fast, like she was running out of time. "Look at your right hand." I frowned. "What?" "Your right hand," she repeated. "Look at your ring finger." I looked. My wedding ring wasn't there. Of course it wasn't there. I stopped wearing it after the funeral because it made people ask questions I couldn't answer without falling apart. But that wasn't what stopped my heart. What stopped my heart was the thin, pale line around my finger, the mark where the ring used to be. I hadn't noticed it earlier tonight. I hadn't noticed it at all in weeks, and now it looked fresh, like a ghost of a life I used to have. My throat went dry. "Okay?" My voice, hers, shook again. "You see it, right?" "Yeah," I said slowly. "I see it." "Good," she whispered. "That means you're the right one." "The right one?" My brain caught on that phrase like a snag. "What do you mean, the right one?" She was silent for a beat. Then, "Maya, do you remember the smell of the elevator in St. Vincent's?" My blood ran cold. St. Vincent's was the hospital where Adam died. I hadn't said that hospital's name out loud in months. I hadn't told anyone about the elevator smell, the stale lemon cleaner, the metal, the weird faint burn scent like overheated wires. My throat tightened. "How do you know that?" she whispered, like the words hurt. "Because I was there when you collapsed." My hand flew to my mouth. I had collapsed that night. Not in front of people. Not in the waiting room. In the hallway by the elevator, where no one saw except the nurse who looked scared of me, like grief was contagious. I could barely breathe. "Who are you?" I asked again, softer, smaller. "It's me," she said. "And you have to trust me, because you don't trust anyone else right now, not even yourself." A tear slipped down my cheek before I even realized I was crying. "How do I know you're not just messing with me?" I whispered. She made a broken little sound, like a laugh that died in her throat. "Ask me something only you would know," she said. My mind raced, my heart hammered. My apartment felt too quiet, like the air was holding its breath. So I asked the first thing that came out, the thing that hurt the most. What did Adam say to me the last morning I saw him alive? There was a pause, a tiny inhale, and then my voice on the phone said, "Don't skip breakfast, May. You get mean when you're hungry." My stomach flipped because Adam said that, exactly like that. I squeezed my eyes shut. My voice, hers, went even softer. "I don't have much time," she whispered. "If you go in tomorrow, you're gonna open the wrong door." My eyes snapped open. "What door?" But the line crackled. I heard another sound, like a sharp knock, distant but real. Then my voice on the phone whispered, "He found you." And the call ended. The screen went dark. The silence in my apartment came rushing back like a wave. I sat there, frozen, staring at my phone, waiting for it to ring again. It didn't. I checked my call log. It was there. A missed reality, sitting in my history like it belonged. Incoming call, Maya Hart. Duration, 1 hour 42. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. I stood up and walked to the window, peering down at the street like a paranoid person. No one. Just empty sidewalks and a flickering street lamp that made shadows look like they were moving. My chest felt tight and raw, and one thought kept repeating in my mind, louder than anything else. If that was me, then where is she calling from? And why did she sound like she was hiding from someone who was coming? Because when I finally looked at my front door, I realized the deadbolt was turning. slowly, like someone had a key. The deadbolt stopped turning. That was the worst part, because it meant whoever was on the other side knew the door wasn't opening yet. I stood there, frozen, my phone still glowing in my hand, my heart beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. The apartment felt suddenly too small, too quiet, like it was waiting for something bad to happen. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then, click, the lock turned back the other way. Silence. I waited a full 30 seconds before I moved again. Maybe longer. Time felt stretchy, unreal. When I finally stepped toward the door, my legs felt like they belonged to someone else. I pressed my ear against the wood. Nothing. No footsteps. No voices. No shuffling. Just the low hum of the building's ancient pipes and my own breathing. Too loud. Too fast. Okay, I whispered to myself. Okay, Maya, get it together. I checked the peephole. The hallway was empty. No shadows. No movement. Just the flickering fluorescent light and Mrs. Collins' welcome mat across the hall that said, "Bless this home," like it wasn't the most ironic thing in the world. I slid the chain on. Then the second lock. Then leaned my forehead against the door and closed my eyes. This was it. This was the moment where a normal person would call the police. But I didn't. Because normal people don't get phone calls from themselves at 2:17 in the morning. I backed away from the door slowly, like it might chase me. My phone buzzed in my hand, and I nearly screamed. It wasn't a call. It was a text. From my own number. Me, did he try the door? My stomach dropped. I typed back with shaking thumbs. Me, yes. 3 dots appeared immediately. Me, good. That means you still have time. Time for what? I sank onto the couch, hugging my knees to my chest like a kid hiding from thunder. Who was that? The typing bubble stayed there longer this time, then disappeared. Then came back. Someone who knows what you did. My mouth went dry. I stared at that sentence like it was written in another language. What did I do? No reply. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Then 2. I felt stupid. Crazy. Like I was spiraling into something I wouldn't be able to climb out of. I tossed the phone onto the coffee table and ran both hands through my hair. You're losing it, I told myself out loud. You're stressed. You haven't slept. This is grief doing weird stuff to your brain. That's what my therapist used to say before I stopped going. Grief is sneaky. It wears familiar faces. I stood up and walked to the kitchen, needing water, needing something solid. My reflection in the microwave door looked pale, hollowed out like I was slowly fading. I poured a glass with shaking hands and took a sip, and then my phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look. I really didn't. But I did. Me? Check the bathroom cabinet, top shelf. A chill crawled up my spine. I didn't move. Now, Maya, how do you know what's in my bathroom? I whispered, even though no one was there to hear me. I walked down the hall, every step heavy. The bathroom light flicked on with a buzz that felt way too loud. I opened the cabinet. Toothpaste. Painkillers. Old makeup I never wore anymore. Top shelf. I reached up and pulled down a small white bottle. My name was on it. Not my current prescription. An old one. Lorazepam. Anti-anxiety meds I stopped taking over a year ago. My heart started racing again. I hadn't refilled that prescription. I was sure of it. I checked the date. Filled 2 weeks ago. What the hell? I whispered. My phone buzzed again. Me. You didn't take them. Good. I gripped the edge of the sink. I didn't fill this, I typed back. Me. I know. He did. My stomach lurched. Me. Who is he? The reply took longer this time. Long enough for my mind to go places I didn't want it to. Me. The one who signed the consent form. My vision blurred. Consent form? The word hit something deep in my chest, something old and sore. Me. What consent form? Another pause. Then, me. The one you don't remember signing. I slid down until I was sitting on the bathroom floor, my back against the cabinet, the cold tile seeping through my clothes. I don't understand, I whispered. My phone buzzed again. Me. You weren't supposed to remember. I stared at the wall, at the tiny crack near the baseboard that Adam used to complain about. I remembered him kneeling there once, promising he'd fix it next weekend. Next what? Is this about the hospital? I typed. The reply came instantly. Yes. My chest tightened. St. Vincent's. The night Adam died. The night I collapsed by the elevator. The night everything went black for a few seconds longer than it should have. They said I fainted. The 3 dots blinked. They said a lot of things. I swallowed hard. Why are you doing this to me? I typed. Why not just tell me? There was no answer right away. When it came, it was shorter than everything else. Because if you know too early, you won't make the right choice. What choice? I whispered. The phone buzzed again, like it heard me. The door you open tomorrow. My hands started shaking again. You said not to go to work. I'm not saying that anymore. I stared at the screen. What? Now I'm saying if you go, don't take the elevator. My heart dropped into my stomach. Why? I typed. The reply came slower, heavier. Because that's where I lost you last time. I squeezed my eyes shut. Lost me? I was still here, wasn't I? My phone buzzed one more time. I have to go. He's close again. My breathing turned shallow. Wait, how do I know I can trust you? The reply came almost instantly. Because I'm the version of you that didn't. And then, nothing. No typing bubble. No reply. Just silence. I sat there on the bathroom floor for a long time after that, staring at the dark screen, replaying her words over and over. The version of you that didn't. Didn't what? Trust? Survive? Make the right choice? I finally stood up when the sky outside my window started to lighten. Dawn creeping in like it didn't know it wasn't welcome. I walked back to the living room, exhausted, wrecked, and sat on the couch. My phone was quiet, too quiet, and that's when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. On my coffee table was a visitor badge from St. Vincent's Hospital, dated 2 weeks ago, with my name printed on it, and I had no memory of ever going back there. Because if I didn't go to the hospital 2 weeks ago, then who did? And why did they sign my name? I didn't sleep, not even for a minute. I sat on the couch staring at that visitor badge like it might start talking if I looked at it long enough. St. Vincent's Hospital visitor, Maya Hart, date 2 weeks ago. The edges were bent, like it had been shoved into a pocket. Used, worn. I picked it up with 2 fingers, like it was contaminated. I would remember this, I said out loud. My voice sounded thin, unsure. I would remember going back there. St. Vincent's wasn't just a hospital. It was the place where my life split in half, where before and after became permanent. I hadn't even driven past it since Adam died. Had I? My phone buzzed on the coffee table. I jumped. Not a text. A notification. Calendar reminder. 9 a.m. Basement level B. St. Vincent's. My heart slammed so hard I thought I might puke. What? I whispered. I didn't put that reminder there. I never scheduled anything before noon anymore. Mornings were the worst. Too quiet. Too much room for memories. I opened the calendar app, scrolling fast, frantic. The event was real. Created 2 weeks ago. By me. There was even a note attached. Do not miss this. I laughed. A sharp, humorless sound. Oh, I'm losing my mind, I muttered. This is it. This is how it starts. I thought about my therapist, Dr. Klein, how she gently suggested that grief can cause dissociation, memory gaps, defensive forgetting. I thought about the pills in my bathroom cabinet, lorazepam, filled 2 weeks ago, filled by someone who signed my name. I checked the time, 7:42 a.m. In just over an hour, I was supposed to be at the same hospital I swore I'd never step foot in again. My phone buzzed again. Me, you found the badge. My chest tightened. Why don't I remember going there? The reply took longer this time. Me, because remembering would have broken you. I rubbed my face with both hands. I'm already broken, I whispered. Me, why did I go back? 3 dots. Then, because you were looking for answers. My throat went dry. Me, about Adam? The typing bubble vanished, then came back. Me, about yourself. I stared at that line. What does that even mean? I typed. It means the accident didn't end when Adam died. A chill crept up my arms. Me, you said I collapsed that night. Me, you didn't just collapse. My heart started racing again. Me, then what happened? There was a long pause. Long enough that I thought maybe she'd disappeared again. Then my phone buzzed. Me, you stopped breathing. The room felt like it tilted. I grabbed the edge of the couch. That's not true, I whispered. They would have told me. They did, just not like that. My pulse pounded in my ears. How long? The reply came slower than everything else so far, like she was choosing each word carefully. 2 minutes and 46 seconds. I felt nauseous. Dead. That's dead. I stared at my hands, flexing my fingers like they might disappear. Then why am I here? The 3 dots blinked, stopped. Then, because someone intervened, my mind raced. Doctors, CPR, defibrillators. But she didn't say doctors. She said someone. Who? Another pause. Then, that's what you went back to find out. I swallowed hard. I looked at the calendar reminder again. Basement level B. I remembered something then. A flicker. A sensation. Cold air. Concrete. The smell of disinfectant mixed with metal and something burnt. The elevator smell. My head throbbed. I stood up and paced the living room, dragging my fingers through my hair. This is insane, I muttered. This is all insane. But deep down, under the panic, there was something else. A pull, like my body already knew where it was supposed to go. Bae, you told me not to take the elevator. The reply was immediate. Me. Promise me you won't. Me. Why? The typing dots flickered, then disappeared. When the message came, my stomach dropped. Because that's where they kept you. My breathing turned shallow. Me. Kept me? Me. After you flatlined? I leaned against the wall, feeling dizzy. Who is they? I whispered. The phone buzzed again. People who didn't want you asking questions. I checked the time again. 8:01 a.m. If I was going to St. Vincent's, I had to leave soon. Every instinct screamed at me to stay home. Lock the door, crawl under the covers, and pretend none of this was happening. But another part of me, the part that survived 2 minutes and 46 seconds of nothing, was already moving. I grabbed my keys. My phone buzzed one more time. Listen to me carefully. I stopped in the doorway. If you feel dizzy, if your chest gets tight, if you smell burning wires. My heart started pounding harder. What? The reply came. Run. I stood there for a moment, staring at the door. Then I opened it. The hallway was empty again. Too empty. I locked up, triple-checked the deadbolt, and stepped into the elevator lobby. Then stopped. The elevator doors were open, waiting. The light inside flickered softly, and taped to the wall beside it was a laminated sign I had never noticed before. Basement Level B, authorized personnel only. My phone buzzed in my hand. Me, do not get in. I stared at the elevator, then at the stairwell door across the hall. My heart hammered, and for the first time since Adam died, I felt it clearly. Fear. Not grief. Not sadness. Fear that someone had already decided my fate once before, and might try to do it again. Because as I pushed open the stairwell door, I heard footsteps below me. Slow, deliberate, coming up. The footsteps stopped. Right on the other side of the stairwell door. I froze with my hand still on the handle, my pulse pounding so hard I thought whoever was down there could hear it. 1 step. 2. Slow. Heavy. Unrushed. Whoever it was, they weren't running. They knew exactly where they were going. I pulled the door shut quietly and stepped back. My heart hammering like I'd just been caught doing something wrong. The elevator doors were still open, humming softly like they were inviting me in. I backed away from both. No stairs, no elevator. I turned and walked fast, too fast, down the hallway toward the parking garage exit. My shoes slapping against the tile. Get a grip, I muttered. You're jumpy. That's all. But my phone buzzed in my hand again. Me. Good. You didn't take the stairs. I stopped walking. How do you know where I am? I whispered. I didn't even bother typing it. Another buzz. Me. Because they didn't expect you to hesitate. My throat went dry. Me. Who are they? The reply didn't come right away. I reached the glass doors and pushed them open, stepping into the gray morning air of the parking structure. My car sat in the same spot I always parked it. 3rd row, near the pillar with the faded red paint. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I unlocked the car and slid inside, locking the doors immediately, like that would somehow save me. My phone buzzed. Me. I can't say names yet. Why not? I whispered, my voice shaking. Because once you know who they are, they'll know you remember. I swallowed hard. I sat there gripping the steering wheel, breathing through my nose like I was trying not to pass out. Me. Remember what? The 3 dots blaked. Then. Good! You didn't take the stairs. I stopped walking. How do you know where I am? I whispered. I didn't even bother typing it. Another buzz. Because they didn't expect you to hesitate. My throat went dry. Me? Who are they? The reply didn't come right away. I reached the glass doors and pushed them open, stepping into the gray morning air of the parking structure. My car sat in the same spot I always parked it. Third row, near the pillar with the faded red paint. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I unlocked the car and slid inside, locking the doors immediately, like that would somehow save me. My phone buzzed. Me. I can't say names yet. Why not? I whispered, my voice shaking. Me. Because once you know who they are, they'll know you remember. I swallowed hard. I sat there gripping the steering wheel, breathing through my nose like I was trying not to pass out. Me. Remember what? The 3 dots blinked. Then, what you agreed to. My heart dropped into my stomach. Agreed to what? I said aloud. I pulled out of the garage, my hands trembling as I merged into traffic. Every car felt too close. Every red light felt like a trap. You said I signed a consent form. For what? There was a longer pause than usual, long enough for me to wonder if she'd vanished again. Then my phone buzzed. To stay alive. I laughed, sharp and brittle. That's not funny. I'm not joking. My chest tightened. People don't sign forms to stay alive. They do when dying is the cheaper option. The words hit like a slap. What does that mean? I whispered. Traffic moved around me like nothing was wrong. Like the world hadn't quietly tilted on its axis. It means your case wasn't standard. I felt dizzy. Me. I fainted. Me. You flatlined. My knuckles went white on the steering wheel. Me. Then bring me back. CPR. Shock. That's it. The reply came slower, heavier. Me. That wasn't enough. My heart skipped. Me. Then what did they do? There was a pause so long I almost pulled over. When the message came, it felt careful. Me. They tried something experimental. My stomach twisted. No, I whispered. They can't just do that. Me. They can if you sign. The word echoed in my head. Sign. I remembered flashes now. Not full memories. Sensations. A pen pressed into my fingers. A bright light overhead. Someone saying my name, like they were afraid I'd drift away again. I slammed on the brakes at a red light, breathing hard. Why don't I remember this? The reply came quickly. Me, because part of the agreement was memory suppression. I laughed again, but this time there was no humor in it. That sounds like sci-fi bullshit. Me, you said the same thing. Then why did I agree? The dots blinked, stopped. Then, because they showed you the alternative. My hands started shaking. What alternative? The reply came in 2 messages. The version of your life where you didn't sign, where Adam's death wasn't the only one that night. My vision blurred. What are you saying? I whispered. You saw yourself die. The light turned green. Cars honked behind me. I barely noticed. That's not possible. It is when your brain is shutting down. I pulled over onto a side street and cut the engine, my chest rising and falling, too fast. If I agreed to this, why am I asking questions now? The reply came instantly. Because the suppression is failing. A chill crawled up my spine. Why? Another pause. Then, because you're getting close to the place it started. I stared at the hospital building in my rearview mirror, its glass facade looming in the distance. Basement level B. That's where they did it. Yes, my heart thudded. And you? There was a longer pause than usual. Long enough that I thought maybe this time she wouldn't answer. Then my phone buzzed. I'm what happens when you don't stop them. My throat went dry. You said you lost me. When? The reply came slower than any before. After they took you back downstairs, I closed my eyes. A sound drifted into my memory. Faint, rhythmic, beeping. Then nothing. What did they take from me? The typing dots flickered, disappeared, came back. Time. I opened my eyes. What time? I whispered. The answer hit harder than everything else so far. Me. The version of you that asked too many questions. I stared at my phone, my reflection faintly visible on the dark screen. And for the first time, I noticed something I hadn't before. There was a faint scar at the base of my neck, small, surgical, one I was absolutely sure had never been there before. Because as I touched the scar, my phone buzzed with one final message. They're watching you now. They're watching you now. That message sat on my screen like it was alive. I locked my phone and dropped it into the cup holder, suddenly paranoid it could hear me even when it was quiet. I drove without really knowing where I was going. Just away from the hospital, away from that elevator, away from the version of myself that had apparently signed my life away. My neck burned where I'd touched the scar. I pulled over again, this time in the parking lot of a grocery store I never shopped at, and leaned forward until my forehead hit the steering wheel. Think, I whispered. Just think. If this was real, then someone had taken advantage of me when I was vulnerable, when I was grieving, when I was barely holding myself together after Adam died. And worse, I had agreed to it. My phone buzzed again. I flinched. Me, you need proof. I unlocked the screen. Me, yes, I typed. I do. 3 dots. Me, then stop driving and go somewhere public. I looked around. Families loading groceries. A couple arguing quietly near a cart return. Normal life. I parked and got out of the car, my legs shaky but holding. Inside the store, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. I grabbed a cart, even though I didn't need anything, just to look normal, just to blend in. Me. Okay, now what? The reply came quickly. Go to customer service. Ask for the lost and found binder. My stomach tightened. Why? Because hospitals outsource archival overflow. I frowned. What does that have to do with a grocery store? The reply came slower, like she was choosing how much to tell me. St. Vincent's contracts with 3 off-site document vendors. One of them stores temporary intake duplicates. I stopped walking. How do you know that? I whispered. Because I found the invoice. I swallowed hard and pushed the cart toward customer service, my heart pounding with every step. The girl behind the counter couldn't have been more than 20. Pink nails, bored expression. Hey, I said, forcing a smile. Weird question. Do you guys keep a lost and found binder? She shrugged. Yeah? Why? I lost something important, I said. I was told to check here. She reached under the counter and pulled out a thick black binder. Sign here, she said, sliding it toward me. I picked up the pen. My hand froze. There was my name, already written. Maya Hart. Same handwriting as mine. Same looping M. Same uneven A. My chest tightened. Is this a joke? I asked. The girl frowned. No, you were here 2 weeks ago. You forgot a folder. My mouth went dry. A folder? She flipped a few pages and pulled out a thin manila envelope from behind the counter. Yellowed. Plain. A red sticker on the corner read, Confidential. Temp. She slid it across to me. There you go. My fingers trembled as I took it. I didn't open it there. I couldn't. My knees felt weak, I pushed the card away and walked straight out of the store. The envelope clutched to my chest, like it might disappear if I loosened my grip. Back in my car, I locked the doors. Then I opened it. Inside were copies, not originals, copies of copies. Medical intake forms, consent documents, and one page that made my breath catch. Subject, heart, Maya. Status, post-clinical death intervention. No, I whispered. No, no, no. My phone buzzed. You see it now. Me, why does it say subject? The reply came instantly. Me, because patients can say no. My hands shook as I flipped the pages. Vitals, dates, times, then a heading in bold. Neural continuity preservation. Phase 1. My stomach churned. Me, what is this? There was a pause. Then, me, the reason I exist. My throat tightened. You said you were me. Me. I scanned the page, my eyes snagging on a line near the bottom. Secondary cognitive imprint stabilized. What does that mean? I whispered. The reply came slower than usual. Me. It means they didn't just bring you back. I felt dizzy. Me. Then what did they do? The typing dots blinked, stopped. Blink again. Then they copied you. The word echoed in my head. Copied. Like a file. Like data. Like something that could be moved, stored, erased. Me. That's impossible. Me. So is surviving almost 3 minutes without oxygen. My chest tightened. I flipped another page and froze. A signature at the bottom. My name. My handwriting. But underneath it, in smaller print, authorized by Dr. E. Caldwell. That name rang a bell. I didn't know why, but it did. My phone buzzed. Me. He's the one who fi. He was there that night. Yes. I stared at the papers, my hands numb. Why am I remembering now? The reply came immediately. Because the copy isn't stable. My heart skipped. The copy? Me. I felt like I couldn't breathe. What happens when it fails? There was a long pause, long enough that I thought she wouldn't answer. When she did, it was only 3 words. They replace you. The world went very quiet. I looked up, my reflection staring back at me in the windshield. For the first time, I didn't recognize the woman looking back. Because as I sat there shaking, a knock hit my window, and standing outside was a man in a white coat who said, Maya Hart, I think we need to talk. I didn't roll the window down. I didn't unlock the door. I just stared at him. He stood there, calm as hell, one hand resting lightly on the roof of my car, like we were old friends meeting by accident. White coat, salt and pepper hair, no badge visible, but he knew my name. Maya Hart? He repeated, louder this time. People walked past behind him with grocery bags, laughing, living their normal lives, like nothing was wrong. Like there wasn't a man standing inches away from me who had apparently signed off on copying my brain. I shook my head. You've got the wrong person. His mouth twitched into something that might have been a smile. No, he said. I really don't. My phone buzzed violently in my hand. Do not talk to him. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel. How did you find me? I asked through the glass. He leaned down, lowering his voice like he was doing me a favor. You left with hospital property, he said. We needed to make sure it was returned. Hospital property. My stomach twisted. That folder is mine, I snapped. It is not, he said calmly. It belongs to St. Vincent's. My phone buzzed again. He's lying. I glanced at the lock on my door, then at him. If you don't step away from my car, I'm calling the police, I said. Dr. Caldwell sighed, like I was being difficult on purpose. Maya, he said gently, I'm trying to keep you safe. That word hit me harder than anything else he'd said. Safe. My phone buzzed. That's what he said last time. My heart slammed. Last time? I whispered. Caldwell tilted his head slightly, studying my face. You're experiencing confusion, he said. That's expected. I cracked the window an inch, not because I trusted him, but because I needed to hear his voice clearly. Expected from what? I asked. Post-event recall drift, he replied smoothly. Memory reintegration isn't linear. My skin crawled. You drugged me, I said. He didn't deny it. You were distressed, he said. We stabilized you. My phone buzzed again. Me, he sedated you before you could say no. I swallowed hard. You filled a prescription in my name, I said. Yes, he replied, without hesitation. Per your signed authorization. That's not consent, I snapped. That's manipulation. Caldwell's eyes hardened just a fraction. You begged us, he said quietly. The words hit like a punch. I did not, I said. You did, he replied. You said you couldn't do it again. You said if there was any way to stop the pain, you wanted it. My chest tightened. That sounded like me. The worst part was, it felt like me. My phone buzzed. You were breaking. He waited for that. I closed my eyes for a second, memories pushing at the edges of my mind. A hospital bed, my hands shaking. Someone holding my wrist, pressing a pen into my fingers. Did I really sign it? I typed. The reply came instantly. Yes. My stomach dropped. Then why are you helping me? There was a pause, longer than usual. Because I'm what you lost when you agreed. I opened my eyes. Caldwell straightened, glancing around the parking lot. We shouldn't do this here, he said. You're attracting attention. That's the point, I snapped. He sighed again, clearly annoyed now. Maya, please, he said. You're destabilizing. My phone buzzed hard. He's scared. I laughed, sharp and bitter. You're scared, I said. Caldwell's jaw tightened. You don't understand what you're risking, he said. What am I risking? I demanded. He hesitated. Just for half a second. That was all I needed. Myself, I said. He looked at me like I'd just solved a math problem he didn't want me to see. Maya, he said slowly, there are protocols. Yeah? I shot back. What happens when I break protocol? His eyes flicked to my neck, to the scar. You won't feel a thing, he said quietly. My blood ran cold. My phone buzzed again. That's a lie. I took a shaky breath. I'm not going anywhere with you, I said. He straightened fully now, dropping the friendly act. Then I'll have to escalate this, he said. Go ahead, I said, my voice shaking but loud. Do it in front of everyone. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then his expression changed, not angry, calculating. Fine, he said, but you should know. My phone buzzed again, cutting him off. Start the car. I turned the key without thinking. The engine roared to life. Caldwell stepped back as I pulled out, tires squealing slightly on the pavement. I didn't look back. I drove. Fast. My hands shook so hard I could barely keep the wheel straight. Me, you okay? I typed. The reply came slower than usual. Me, for now. My heart thudded. Me, what happens next? The 3 dots blinked. Then, You stop running. I swallowed. Me, how? The reply came, short and terrifying. Me, by going back to where they made me. I felt a chill. Me, basement B. Tonight. I stared at the road ahead, my reflection faint in the windshield. Why tonight? I whispered. The answer came. Me, because they're preparing a replacement. My heart skipped. Me, replacement for who? The reply hit like a final punch. You, because as I drove, my phone buzzed one last time, and the message wasn't from me. It was from an unknown number that said, Maya, please come home. You're not the original. Thought. I almost swerved into the next lane. I slammed the brakes just enough to make the car behind me honk. My heart beating so hard it hurt. Unknown number. Maya, please come home. You're not the original. I pulled over, hands shaking so badly I could barely put the car in park. No, I whispered. No, no, no. My phone buzzed again, same number. Unknown number. You're scaring people. You always do this when the seams start showing. The seams. That word crawled under my skin. I typed back without thinking. Me. Who is this? The reply came instantly. Unknown number. You know who I am. My chest tightened. I stared at my reflection in the rearview mirror. My face looked the same. Same eyes. Same tired lines around my mouth. But suddenly, it didn't feel like poof anymore. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You didn't make it past 2:46. My throat closed. That number again. 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Me, stop texting me. Unknown number. I can't. Because you're me. I laughed, a sharp, broken sound. Great, I muttered. Now there's two of you. My phone buzzed hard, this time from my number. Me, do not respond to them. Relief washed over me like a wave. Me, who is that? The typing dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, me, the version that stayed. My stomach dropped. Me stayed where? A pause. In the system. My skin prickled. I leaned my head back against the seat, staring up at the roof of my car. So what am I? I whispered. My phone buzzed. Me, you're the one who got out. The unknown number buzzed immediately after. Unknown number, you're the glitch. My heart hammered. Me, why are you saying this now? The reply came slower, heavier. Unknown number, because they're about to overwrite you. My phone buzzed from my number again. Me, that's true. I swallowed hard. Overwrite me with what? The answer came from both phones almost at the same time. With her. Unknown number. With me. My hands trembled. 2 versions, 2 truths, 1 body. I squeezed my eyes shut, memories pressing in harder now. A cold room, a ceiling light, voices overlapping. One saying, we're losing her. Another saying, we can still save the data. Data. I gasped, clutching my chest. What did they copy? My number replied. Your emotional core. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number, your obedience. I shook my head violently. No, no way. Why didn't I feel different? The reply came instantly. Because they designed you not to. My stomach turned. Then what's different about me? The typing dots lingered. Then, you can say no. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number. You can't. I squeezed the steering wheel until my fingers hurt. Which one of you is lying? I whispered. The answer came from my number. Both of us. A little. My chest tightened. What happens if I go to basement B tonight? There was a pause. Then, You'll remember everything. The unknown number buzzed immediately after. And you'll stop being necessary. My heart skipped. Necessary for what? The reply from my number came slow. For them. But chill ran down my spine. Why do they want me back? The answer came in two parts. Because you're unstable. And because Adam was never supposed to die. My breath caught. What? I whispered. The unknown number buzzed. You weren't the only one on that table. My vision blurred. Adam is dead. The reply F. Not in every version. My hands started shaking uncontrollably. Me? Are you saying they could have saved him? There was a long pause then. Me? They chose not to. The world felt like it cracked open. The unknown number buzzed one last time. Unknown number. Come home, Maya. Let them finish fixing you. My phone buzzed from my number. If you go back willingly, you won't be you anymore. I stared straight ahead, tears slipping down my face without permission. Two voices, two futures, one choice. And suddenly I understood why this hurt so much. Because whatever I was still human enough to be afraid. Because as I wiped my face and started the car again, my phone buzzed with a new notification. St. Vincent's Hospital. Subject heart. Procedure confirmed. 9 p.m. The notification sat there like a death sentence. Not appointment, not consultation. Procedure. I checked the time. 6:18 p.m. Less than 3 hours until whatever they were planning to do to me happened. I laughed under my breath, not because anything was funny, but because it finally clicked. They weren't chasing me. They were waiting. My phone buzzed again. Me, you see it now. Yeah, I whispered. I see it. Me, they don't need to drag you in. You already agreed once. My chest tightened. Me, that consent still stands. I wiped my palms on my jeans. Then why warn me? The reply came slower than usual. Because this time, you can refuse. The unknown number buzzed almost immediately. Unknown number. Don't listen to her. She's panicking. I groaned. Oh, fantastic. Now you're gaslighting each other. I pulled into a quiet neighborhood and parked under a tree, cutting the engine. I needed silence, space to think. My phone buzzed again. Me, do you remember the song Adam used to play when he cooked? My throat tightened. Yeah, I whispered. Fleetwood Mac. Every damn time. Me. He played it the night you signed. I closed my eyes. A memory surfaced. Blurry, fragmented. The hospital room. Dim lights. Adam's jacket draped over a chair. Someone's phone playing music softly, like it was supposed to comfort me. I remembered crying. Hard. You said you couldn't survive another loss. My chest burned. You said you didn't care how they fixed you, just that they did. I swallowed. That sounds like me, I whispered. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number, you said you wanted the pain gone. My hands trembled. What did they promise me? The reply came after a long pause. They promised you relief. My stomach dropped. At what cost? The 3 dots blinked, stopped. Then, at the cost of remembering why you loved him. Tears blurred my vision. No, I whispered. That's not relief. That's erasure. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number. It works. I don't hurt anymore. That stopped me. I stared at the screen. What do you feel? There was a pause. Then, calm, useful, quiet. My chest felt hollow. That wasn't living. That was existing. My phone buzzed again, this time from my number. He's what they want you to become. I inhaled slowly. Then what are you? The reply came softer than everything else so far. I'm what's left when you choose to feel. I wiped my face, my hands shaking. Why can't you just take over? I whispered. If you're the better version. There was a long pause. Then, because I can't exist without you. My breath hitched. They separated us. Tonight, they plan to erase one side. I felt sick. Which side? The reply came. The one that resists. My phone buzzed from the unknown number. Unknown number. She's unstable. You know that. I laughed through tears. Yeah, I am. What happens if I don't show up? The answer came instantly. They'll come get you. My stomach dropped. Then why go at all? The reply came slow, heavy. Because if you go willingly, you get access. I frowned. Access to what? The answer sent a chill through me. The original files. Me, she's what they want you to become. I inhaled slowly. Then what are you? The reply came softer than everything else so far. I'm what's left when you choose to feel. I wiped my face, my hands shaking. Why can't you just take over? I whispered. If you're the better version? There was a long pause. Then, because I can't exist without you. My breath hitched. Me, they separated us. Tonight, they plan to erase one side. I felt sick. Which side? The reply came. Me, the one that resists. My phone buzzed from the unknown number. Unknown number. She's unstable. You know that. I laughed through tears. Yeah, I am. Me. What happens if I don't show up? The answer came instantly. Me. They'll come get you. My stomach dropped. Me. Then why go at all? The reply came slow, heavy. Because if you go willingly, you get access. I frowned. Access to what? The answer sent a chill through me. The original files. The truth. I leaned back in the seat, staring up through the windshield at the darkening sky. Adam's face flashed in my mind. His smile. His stupid jokes. The way he'd squeeze my hand twice to say I'm here. You said he wasn't supposed to die. The typing dots lingered longer than usual. Then, he wasn't. My chest felt like it might crack open. Then why did he? The reply came. Because they chose you. The unknown number buzzed immediately. Unknown number. You're better this way. I stared at the screen. No, I whispered. I'm not. I checked the time again. 7:02 p.m. Less than 2 hours. I started the car. If I go, how do I survive it? The reply came instantly. You don't let them put you back under. My heart raced. How? The answer came in 3 words. Stay awake. Fight. The unknown number buzzed one last time. Unknown number. You'll regret this. I put the car in drive. I already do, I whispered. Because as I pulled onto the road toward St. Vincent's, my phone buzzed with one final message from Adam's old number. May, please don't let them do this to you. And I knew this was never just about me. I pulled over so fast, my seatbelt locked. My hands were shaking so hard I had to drop the phone onto the passenger seat like it burned me. Adam's number, disconnected, deactivated. I'd called it 100 times after he died, just to hear the automated message tell me it no longer existed. And now it had texted me. May, please don't let them do this to you. My chest caved in. This isn't funny, I whispered, my voice cracking. This isn't okay. My phone buzzed again, this time from my number. Me, I didn't want you to find out like this. I swallowed hard. Me, is that really him? The typing dots stayed longer than usual. Then, me, it's his imprint. The word felt cold. Like a recording? I whispered. Me. Like you. My stomach dropped. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number. They used him to stabilize you. I squeezed my eyes shut. No, I whispered. They wouldn't. My phone buzzed again. Me. They did. My chest burned. Me. How? The reply came carefully. When you flatlined, you were alone. I remembered that feeling. Not darkness, not peace. Absence. Your brain was shutting down. They needed an anchor. My hands clenched into fists. Adam, I whispered. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number. He was already there. My breath hitched. What do you mean already there? The reply came from my number. He died on the table next to you. The words shattered something inside me. No, I sobbed. He died in the ER. That's what they told you. The car felt too small, too tight. They moved him. They were already testing neural capture on trauma victims. I felt sick. Me, you were compatible. Me, he was leverage. Tears streamed down my face. You're saying they used my husband like a tool, I whispered. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number. It worked. I slammed my palm against the steering wheel. Shut up! My phone buzzed again. Adam's number. Adam. May, I'm sorry. My breath caught. I stared at the screen. Me. Adam? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, Adam, I don't have much time. My hands trembled. Me. Is it really you? The reply came slow. Careful. Adam, enough of me to remember you. I broke. I miss you, I whispered. Adam, I know. Tears blurred my vision. Me. Did they hurt you? The reply came after a long pause. Adam, they didn't think of it as pain. My stomach twisted. Me, why are you helping me? The typing dots blinked. Then, because you didn't deserve to be erased to make their system work. My phone buzzed. My number. He's unstable. They're using him to manipulate you. The unknown number buzzed immediately. He's the reason you're alive. I squeezed my eyes shut. Stop, I whispered. All of you, stop. Adam's number buzzed again. May, listen to me. I swallowed. I'm listening. When you go downstairs, they'll separate you again. My heart hammered. Into what? Control and resistance. My phone buzzed. My number. They'll keep the obedient one. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number. They'll delete the rest. My chest tightened. And you? The reply came from Adam. Adam, I won't survive another partition. My breath hitched. So if I let them do this? The reply came. Adam, I'm gone. I covered my mouth, sobbing. I can't lose you again. Adam's reply came soft. You won't if you don't let them finish. My phone buzzed. My number. You have to choose. The unknown number buzzed. Unknown number. Choose peace. Adam buzzed. Choose yourself. I looked at the hospital looming ahead, its lights glowing like something alive. I wiped my face, my chest aching. If I stop this, what happens to you? The typing dots stayed. Then, Adam, I become a memory again. Tears spilled freely. That's not fair. Adam, neither was dying. I checked the time. 8:47 p.m. 13 minutes. My phone buzzed one last time from Adam. Adam, I loved you before they touched us. My hands shook as I put the phone down. I stepped out of the car. The night air felt heavy. The hospital doors slid open in front of me, and I realized the truth I'd been avoiding. This wasn't about surviving. This was about who I was willing to sacrifice to stay alive. Because as I walked toward the elevator, the basement doors already open. A nurse leaned close and whispered, "They told us you wouldn't fight this time." And I smiled, because they were wrong. "They told us you wouldn't fight this time." The nurse's whisper slid down my spine like ice. I looked at her badge. No name, just a barcode. Like she didn't need one. I smiled anyway, because she was right. I hadn't fought last time. The elevator doors were still open, humming softly, waiting. Basement level B glowed on the panel, like it was already decided. I stepped inside. The doors slid shut with a final metallic sound. As the elevator descended, the air changed. Colder. Heavier. The faint smell of burning wires crept in, exactly like my other self warned me. My phone buzzed one last time in my pocket. "Me, this is it," I typed back with shaking fingers. I know, the elevator dinged. The doors opened onto a long concrete hallway lined with glass rooms. Inside them, machines, screens, cables, chairs that looked too much like restraints to be called chairs, and people. Dr. Caldwell stood at the center, like a man waiting for a delayed flight. "Maya," he said calmly, "thank you for coming." "You didn't give me a choice," I replied. He smiled thinly. "You always have a choice." That lie again. He gestured toward a chair at the far end. It looked exactly like the one from my flashes. Same straps, same overhead light. "We'll make this quick," he said. "You won't feel pain." "I know," I said. "You'll just take what makes me me." His eyes flicked to my neck scar. "You agreed to this," he said. "I agreed when I was broken," I replied. "That's not consent. That's desperation." Caldwell sighed. "You're destabilizing the system." I laughed softly. "Good." Two technicians approached. One held a tablet, the other held something that looked like a syringe, but felt heavier somehow. "Wait," Caldwell said suddenly. Everyone froze. He looked at me more closely now, not like a patient, like a variable. "You're more intact than expected," he said. "I remembered," I replied. "That was your mistake." I pulled my phone from my pocket. Adam's last message was still there. "I loved you before they touched us." I met Caldwell's eyes. "You used him to anchor me," I said. "You used my grief like a tool." "It worked," he said quietly. "No," I said. "It broke everything." I tapped my phone. On the screen, files. The original files. Neural capture logs. Timestamps. Names. Dr. Caldwell's name. St. Vincent's logo. Unauthorized procedures. Consent obtained during cognitive collapse. I'd sent them all. To the cloud. To my lawyer friend. To 3 journalists. To every regulatory board I could find. Caldwell's face went pale. "You don't understand what we've done," he said. "Oh, I do," I replied. "You thought I was replaceable." The screens around us flickered. One of the technicians cursed softly. "They're losing sync," he said. Caldwell stepped toward me. "Maya, stop this. You'll lose everything." I felt the truth settle into my bones. "I already did," I said. "Adam, my old life, the version of me that didn't know how cruel people can be." I stepped back from the chair. "You don't get to take anything else." The lights flickered harder now. My phone buzzed. "Me, it's working." I smiled through tears. "Who are you talking to?" Caldwell demanded. I looked at him. "Myself," I said. A sharp alarm sounded. One of the glass rooms shattered. Screens went dark. The system screamed like it was alive. Caldwell shouted orders, but it was too late. I felt it then. A pressure behind my eyes, a warmth in my chest. Not pain, release. Adam's voice came soft and steady, not through my phone, but through me. May, you're okay now. Tears streamed down my face. I know, I whispered. I'm going to let go. I know, I said again. You don't need me to survive. I shook my head, smiling sadly. I never did. I just needed to remember. The pressure eased. The machines went silent. Caldwell collapsed into a chair, staring at nothing. I stood there, shaking. Whole and shattered and alive. When the authorities arrived, I didn't resist. I told them everything, and for the first time in years, they listened. 6 months later, I wake up without alarms, without pills, without someone else's voice in my head. The scar on my neck is still there. It reminds me I almost disappeared. Adam is gone, really gone, and that hurts. But grief doesn't own me anymore. I volunteer now. Talk to people who lost someone and think they need to erase themselves to survive it. I tell them the truth. Pain doesn't mean you're broken. It means you loved, and love doesn't end with loss. It just changes shape. Sometimes into memories, sometimes into strength, sometimes into the courage to say no. If you're watching this and wondering what you do in my place, I hope you never have to choose. But if you do, choose to stay human, because that's the one thing no system should ever be allowed to overwrite.